Good morning, ladies. Welcome to my live this morning. I tried this yesterday, but I was having problems with the internet. Okay, here we go. Now it says you're now live. Okay, so good morning to everyone. First and foremost, I want to say thank you and welcome to all the new people that have come into our group in the last month. And if you don't know who I am, I'm Penny Helsum. I'm trauma-informed holistic mindset and wellness coach, and together with Coach Lisa Bolston, we host this group for you. Um, so yeah, I do my lives the last Wednesday normally of the month, but because I was having so many technical problems yesterday, um, doing it today. So as always, I wanted to first get all my notes because I try to be as techy as possible. Let me just see where they are. And oh, let's hope I can find them. That's going to be super fun. Yeah, give me a second. Hmm, No pressure. Let me see if I can pull them up for you. Hmm, Okay, here we go. So, I try to be as prepared as possible, but sometimes, things go awry. So today, what we want to talk about is pre-holiday theories. And usually, what we have going on for a lot of women, and what we find for a lot of women, is they run amok. And we want to try to avoid that this year. We want to try to avoid all of the stress and the guilt and the shame that comes from trying to host or be perfect or do all the things through this holiday season. And we see it a lot when you start to feel those feelings of dread flow in, and then the stress kicks in, and then the family dynamics kicks in, and then you lose your routine completely. So we want to avoid that, and I want to give you some pointers today and some tips and how to overcome all of these things that are typical, because what we want to avoid is the stress that creates, the overwhelm, and then the bloating, and then exhaustion, and then cravings, and then like mentally you're like, oh my God, I've like screwed up everything and I have to restart in January. So let's try to think about how we can do things a little differently and work on the progress, not the perfection. And even if you're like, 80% good, even if you're 50% good, right? Like making small changes this year will help you going forward into next year with all the other holidays that follow. So this isn't just like a Christmas thing. This is like an Easter thing, or summer holidays, or vacation time, or Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody in the US who's having their Thanksgiving today. So the thing is, we want to show up and be able to show up to the holidays without losing ourselves, our energy, and the progress that we had. So first thing we want to look at is the emotional triggers. Okay, so this isn't just about food. It's one of the things that disrupts our holiday routine completely. So it's usually stress, expectations, and old family patterns, right? So in those things, we usually see things like the cravings, overeating, shutting down, the numbing effect. It's like, oh, forget it. I'm so fed up with my family. I'm just going to have like another drink, right? So one of the things that we want to look at during this time is taking a minute to understand what it is your roles are and what the old roles you can let go of, right? So usually for women, it's always about they have to be the caregiver, the peacekeeper, the hostess, problem solver, all of the things, right? So this takes a toll on the emotions, it takes a toll on your stress. And if you're already high stress, this is going to add to it. And we want to start learning to delegate, right? So this is one of the things that people, especially women, they're like, oh my God, it has to be perfect. It has to be this. Nobody remembers whether your napkins match the tablecloth. Yes, I, like everybody else, love to have a really pretty table and my tree up and the house clean. But you know what? Nobody notices. Nobody, only you, right? So we get in our heads about, oh, it has to be this, it has to be, it doesn't have to be anything. People are coming to celebrate with you because they want to see you. Okay, so if we're looking also at different emotional triggers, usually family is a clear indicator for this one. So I want to give you a couple of real life examples, and then I'm going to give you 2 tips of how to manage and how you can like manage that going forward into this holiday and all the ones for next year. So for an example, if you walk into your parents' house and you're feeling fine, and then within 20 minutes, old childhood dynamics kick in, and suddenly you're snacking nonstop in the kitchen, right? Or you get in a fight with your sibling or whatever. Example 2, you're hosting, running around all day, barely eating real meals, but by nighttime, you've inhaled everything in sight because your body is starving and it's stressed out. Okay, so this is one of the huge factors of why people are always saying, oh, I put on so much weight on the holidays, because they've lost their routine. And then, everything that you want to eat is in front of you. And you're like, well, I haven't eaten all day, so I'm just going to stuff all this food down my face at like 9 or 10 o'clock at night, right? Like, I don't know. I've done that. I've done that where it's like, as I'm cleaning the kitchen and doing the dishes, I'm putting food in my face. Here's the fun part. The dishes don't have to be done right after dinner. Leave them in the kitchen. Leave them till the morning. Go and enjoy your evening. You've done a lot of work, right? So one of the things, 2 tips that you can do when you're managing the emotional triggers coming into the holidays is do a 30-second emotional check-in before your events. Like whether that's an office Christmas party, a friend's Christmas party, Christmas Day, Boxing, whatever the case may be, whatever the event is. And like check in and like, how am I feeling right now? What do I need? Okay, this stops the automatic pilot reactions opposed to you're walking in and all of a sudden you're like, your gut's telling you like, oh, I don't want to be here. Okay, so set a time limit. Be in, be out. You don't have to stay for the whole evening. You don't have to stay for anything, really. Which again is planning your emotional boundaries. So these aren't just about food boundaries. As an example is if your conversation turns stressful, give yourself permission to step outside and breathe and walk away, because you don't have to be part of it. Don't feel like you need to be there the entire time and put up with whatever conversation that you don't want to have. I've done this personally. It's very difficult because we feel like we know we don't want to be part of this conversation. And then you're like, I don't know what I should do. I will tell you from example, just say it. Just say, you know what? I don't want to talk about this right now. Can we please talk about something else? And then change the subject to whatever you want to change it to. It doesn't matter what it is. They're talking about Maple Leafs. I don't know, hockey games. Look at the sky. It's lovely. Look at the weather. Whatever. Right? Just change the topic. So next thing we want to look at is permission-based eating. And I'm bringing this up for a reason, because if you're anything like I was and still struggle with and still practice, I'm like the all or nothing kind of girl, right? Like it's like you're either all in on your eating plan or you're all out. And we want to switch that up. We want to make those changes, right? So when we make those changes and start giving ourselves permission, we avoid the binges later as before they even happen, right? Because what happens is restriction creates rebellion. Soon as you say no to yourself, to whatever, like think about when you're telling a toddler, no, you can't have it. Well, they double down, right? So think about internally, you got that little toddler and you're like, oh, I shouldn't eat this. I can't eat this. Or, you're like trying to figure it out. It's like, well, should I, shouldn't I? Right? So teach yourself that you can what you want consciously, not in a panic or a guilt spiral. So you're going to start with like, you know what? We're going to have this dinner. There's going to be dessert. I'm probably going to have a glass of wine. Give yourself permission to enjoy the evening. Like, let's think about the holidays. The holidays doesn't have to be a breakdown of the next 5 weeks and all things go to hell, because in reality, it's what maximum, either 1 to like 5 meals total in the next 5 weeks. It's not like a free-for-all of all hell has to break loose, right? That's a story we tell ourselves. So we tell the story of and give ourselves permission to be like, you know what? I'm just going to enjoy the dinner as it happens. Enjoy the people around me as it happens. And you know what? Maybe I'm going to have like, instead of eating everything, I'm just going to have one plate. Okay, that's another one. One plate rule. Slow your eating and breathe before your meal and just take your time, right? Enjoy what you're doing, opposed to trying to like stuff everything in because you're like, well, I shouldn't eat this. And then like, right, the mindset kicks in, right? So think of it, here's an example of you arrive at a party and you're telling yourself, I won't touch the desserts. And you're like, fight it off, fight it off, fight it off. And by the end of the night, you're like now eating 4 pieces in secret, opposed to just enjoying the one, maybe even two. Maybe they're just cookies. And you're like, you know what? I'm going to have two. One hand, two hands, two cookies. Good rule, right? So another example is you skip breakfast to save your calories for dinner. Now you're starving and you're irritable, and then you're just like stuffing the food in because you're so hungry and you've eaten way past fullness. So just like a little science and a little understanding, it takes 20 minutes for the brain to go, I'm full, right? So if you're so hungry that you're stuffing all that food in, your body doesn't even have time to register that you're done. So, eat the meal, eat half, pause, let your body tell you. Enjoy it, right? Like you're not there to scarf it all down. You're there to enjoy what you've cooked or your host has cooked because you've spent hours or they have spent hours in the kitchen. Show them the appreciation for enjoying the meal and not just like inhaling it and ignoring the fact that they put a lot of work into that. Listen, even if they ordered in, doesn't matter. They went to an effort. Appreciate the time. That gives you time to like sit and relax and enjoy, and your body then has time to go, oh, I'm full, right? So then you don't have to worry about like being over full and then feeling ill, and then the guilt and the shame kick in, and then the spiral starts. Okay, so tips in order to manage this. You want to be eating normally, even on the holiday days, right? You want to have your food, you have your breakfast, have your snack, have your lunch, and then just have the normal sized dinner, like whatever's being offered, right? So this keeps a nourished body and it keeps the stress down and it cuts out all those cravings and feeling just, irritable all the time. The second tip is to practice the 60-second pause before eating, taking 3 slow breaths, asking, do I want this or am I anxious? And you'd be surprised of how this low level anxiety kicks in around the holidays, around family, right? So that way, if you want it, enjoy it fully without the guilt. Okay, so that's something you want to really look for. Okay, the other thing that we wanted to look at, number 3, is your micro boundaries that protect your energy without feeling rude. Okay, so these are things like you can take a 10-minute walk after the meal, excuse yourself from a draining conversation, setting time limits on the event, saying yes without abandoning yourself. Okay, so if there's something coming up and you're like, you know what, I don't want to go, then you don't have to go. Don't tell yourself that you should or have to. If you want to, go, because then you're really, truly, authentically being the person that you are and then really enjoying the company that's there. Okay, so your boundaries, they don't have to be confrontational. They're just there for you so that you're having a good time, and then people that you're with are having the real you and enjoying your time, like time with you as well. So, excuse me, the micro boundaries are tiny actions that are going to protect your emotions and your physical space without any drama. And they're going to prevent burnout and resentment and emotional eating as we go through the holidays. Know yourself and know going in if it already feels stressful, you don't have to be there the whole evening. Go get what you need out of it and leave. And that's totally fine. Nobody's clocking you in or out. Okay, another one is the family member. If a family member comments about your weight, life choices, whether or not like your job that you're doing, your kids, whatever, and you find yourself stressed out about this, and then you find yourself picking away at food all night long just to kind of like ease your emotions. Thing is, you can just like walk away. Okay, so here's 2 tips in managing that. So like I said, using your time boundaries. You can stay for 2 hours maximum. Or you can just say, I'm going to step outside for a quick reset. I'm just going to catch some fresh air. The other one, when we're like from examples, like prepping have the phrase down if somebody's having a conversation with you that you don't want to have. Just be like, I'm focusing on feeling good right now. Let's talk about something else. It's not rude, but it just shuts them down and it just stops all the conversation leading into something that you don't want to talk about. At the end of the day, you don't have to talk about anything. You can just be like, I'm out, right? So number 4, excuse me. Oh, I have water. It's somewhere else. Never mind. I was like, gonna grab some water. Not as prepared as I thought. Okay, so number 4 is your anchor routine. Okay, these are your 3 non-negotiables that keep you grounded, whether it's a morning hydration, one nourishing meal, 10 minutes of movement, 5 minutes of breath work, a nighttime wind down, right? So again, we're talking about progress, not perfection. And if you pick 3, that's 80% of your progress protected. So you're not going to feel that whole, oh my God, I've lost the entire month. I screwed up. I have to start again. We want to move away from this whole understanding of like, oh, I got to start again, which means you stopped completely. And if we hang on to some of these, and I'm going to go over them in a second, if we hang on to them, we can get rid of that mindset of like the stop, start, stop, start. This is a cycle. This is a habit. This is like a routine that we've gone through for years, decades for some of us. And instead of like, undergoing with the whole, oh, I got to start again, you're not starting again because you've made progress, right? Like you're here. So if you started level 1 and you're level 10 now, and you paused or you've like done something, maybe you went down to level 9. That means you're not starting from scratch again. You're just starting from level, like, okay, we got to get back up and then go to level 11, right? Like we're never all the way down. We want to hold on to a few things in order to be able to move forward, like continue with our progress. Again, not perfection. We want progress. So this is one of the things that most women feel that they lose their entire routine because, oh, I've got shopping to do. I got to clean the house. I got to put up decorations. Well, let's look that in a time block situation. You're going to put up a tree. What is that? Maybe on a Sunday, that's like 3-4 hours. Okay. Well, it's 24 hours you got going on. So you can, after the tree, go for a walk, right? You have to prepare a holiday dinner. Okay. So if you meal prep and you plan part of it or cook part of it the day before or a week prior and freeze it, and then whatever needs to be cooked on the day is cooked on the day, then you pull stuff out of the freezer and you warm them up, or you have some stuff that was cooked the night before and you heat it up, right? Everything doesn't have to be cooked on the one day. So that way you can still hold on to your routine. And then we want to hang on to, and let's remember the anchor routine is your bare minimum baseline. This is not where it's like, okay, well, this is where I'm at. No, it's your bare minimum in order to hang on to your progress, right? So we're going to keep 3 of those habits that I mentioned before that keep your mind and your body steady, and then everything is less chaotic. So for an example, because a lot of people will be doing this, you're traveling, you're sleeping in different beds, your schedule's off, but you still drink water first thing in the morning, take a walk each morning, and then you're going to feel a little bit more grounded in the day. Okay, because you started, that's 2 of the 5 things. Example 2, even though your day is full of errands, you've committed to 5 minutes of breathing before bed, and it stops you from stress eating late at night. Okay, so it's simple things. It doesn't have to be like, oh, I didn't go to the gym, so I can't go at all. Sure, you can throw the mat down on the floor in front of the TV and just do some stretching for like during the commercials even. You don't even have to miss the movie, or just do it during the movie. I do that a lot, actually. So 2 tips in order to manage this as we go forward. So again, choosing your 3 anchors that are realistic, not perfect, such as, again, the big glass of water in the morning, a 10-minute walk, 1 nourishing meal a day. So commit to, I'm going to have 1 salad or whatever, like with 1 meal or whatever it is, you're going to have 1. And now, if you want to pick that, you want to breakfast. Get started with that day. That way your morning is set up. And the more you can set up your routine in the morning, the easier that day is going to flow. Okay, so again, tying your anchors to your existing habits so that they stick. Water before your coffee, or breakfast before your coffee, walk right after breakfast, breath work after brushing your teeth. However that looks for you, You want to find something that's going to help you in order to stay, again, like we say, it's just grounding. We don't want to make a big deal about it, but we just want to kind of get ourselves through the holiday season in a different way, opposed to the way we've been all doing it for like the past like 50 years. Okay. Number 5 is the identity shift. And this is what comes to, you're somebody who enjoys food and feels good in your body. Right. So what we want to do is get out of the holiday survival mode and enjoy the holidays. So we're going to stop being like, oh my God, I just have to do all. No, we're just going to enjoy it as it is. If all the decorations aren't up, nobody cares. If your linens don't match, nobody cares. If you have to like put 2 tables together to fit all the people, nobody cares. It's the holidays. People are coming together for you and to celebrate, not to judge your crystal and making sure does your silverware match the pattern, like all of it, right? I'm a big advocate of like a little eccentric, so none of my flatware or crystal or china match. I like to use stuff that's all different and just mix and match it. That way nobody can say anything anyway. The other thing is you want to get to enjoy the treats and your wellness. You can do both. You could be 2 things at one time, right? So reinforcing this consistency is simply coming back to yourself, not punishing yourself, right? So we want to choose one commitment for this holiday season that makes you feel really empowered, and you're going to hold on to that, right? So that identity shift. So usually what we see is the binging starts, or I've missed the meals, or I've missed a workout, and then it's like, oh, well, I'll start again in January. There's a lot of days between now and January, right? So like I said earlier, like you're 1 meal or max 5, depending on whether you've got company parties, how big your family is. That's 5 meals in like the course of like 117 meals. 5 of them. So let's not kill all the other. That's 112. I rounded. My math's not so super great. So, but we don't have to kill all of those meals, right? So maybe you missed 5 workouts, or maybe 7 because you had to prep. Okay, but you have like 117 days. So you're missing. So you still have 100. It's 100 workouts you can do, however that looks for you, right? So some of the examples is like, I used to say, oh, I blew it after 1 treat. And now you say, I enjoyed that and I'm still aligned with my goals. Okay. So other ones are examples of, instead of skipping workouts for 2 weeks, you choose a 10-minute walk and keep your identity as the woman who moves every day. However that looks. Maybe it's like you're just doing jumping jacks in your kitchen for like 3 minutes. Done that, right? So between all the things, you can do something opposed to doing nothing. Okay, so 2 tips that we're going to finish with here is use the identity-based affirmations, not outcome-based, right? So I'm a woman who takes care of myself even on busy days. This is changing the narrative in the stories that we talk about, like I've always talked about, that go on in your head. I make choices that support how I want to feel. Okay, so I'm going to have my water. I'm going to make sure like I have some fruit after my breakfast, whatever the case may be. You guys, you're all adults. You can figure it out. Replacing your guilt with curiosity. So if you're overeating, just ask, what was I needing in that moment? Okay, so ask yourself, like, why did I eat all that? Or even before, why am I eating this? Curiosity leads to growth. Guilt leads to quitting, and we don't want that. We want to get to that point where you're like asking yourself the right questions so that you can then start to change who you are in the identity of, like, you can let go of the whole, oh, well, the holidays stress me out. Oh, this is going to happen. You don't know what's going to happen. But if you bring it on and you keep talking about it, you're most certainly going to perpetrate that. Right? So we can talk ourselves into disaster. We can talk ourselves into stress. We can talk ourselves into a lot of things. Having a little bit of faith in order to get through the holidays. So if any of this resonated with you, I'd love to hear in the comments. Let me know what holiday things, what tips do you have that you want to share with everybody else in the group? Because that way, if we build a list, You never know. Some of my tips don't resonate with somebody, but maybe whatever you're going to add to this in the comments, that's what helps somebody get through this holiday. Because ideally, the holiday is, in essence, it's like 2 days out of like the next 117. Well, not 117. Sorry, that was the meals. So 30, what are we, like the fourth? So like 36 days. Uh, what day is it? Okay, Thursday. That's all I know. Whatever number day it is, doesn't matter. So find out, like I say, what tips do you use to get through the holiday season to help you stay in progress, not perfection. Love to hear you in the comments below. Guys, thanks for tuning in today to hear me out, and I will see you next month.